Shut up, Annmarie. Stop it. I know you're excited. I know you're excited.
I'm so excited.
I know you're excited.
It's here.
It is here.
It's here.
But listen, we got an audience out here that has not seen it yet.
I know.
Movie's not even out yet.
I know.
And we need to at least give them a non-spoiler review. Can we do that?
Long live the Fremen fighters!
Hello and welcome to Cassette Take, where you can eject wherever you want, but please do not forget to rewind. I'm Ethan.
I'm Annmarie.
And Annmarie, what did we go see?
2 years, 5 months later, and it's here, ladies and gentlemen. Dune Part 2.
Honestly, I don't even feel like I should be in this room right now. This is actually just Annmarie.
Get away.
That's gonna be
I got it. Oh my goodness, Ethan. We have waited 2 years and 5 months after a stupid decision, Warner Brothers. Love you, but you made a stupid decision. Stupid day and date release. I'll never forgive you. But we made it. Like, we've seen it. We got to the fan event. It's real.
Yeah, we had the wonderful opportunity, thanks to Annmarie here, to see Dune.
Shout out
early.
Dune's Instagram page.
Among, thousands of other big Dune fans
Oh my
out
God.
there, to see it on February 25th,
Yes.
a few days early before March 1st when it actually comes out, so the rest of y'all can see it.
Sorry, guys.
We saw it in an IMAX theater,
Yes.
and oh my gosh, this movie.
This movie is absolutely everything that I wanted. I don't think I had a grin on my face the whole entire time. Like, this biggest grin in my life. I don't want to get, emotional, but I want to. There's
Get emotional. Go for it.
Ethan and I are huge fans of movies. Like, we both have, movies that changed our lives. Like, The Incredibles is a movie for me. Like, I will always remember that moment of being 5 years old, going to see The Incredibles and walking out of that theater and being like, this was incredible. And I've been chasing that feeling ever since, and I finally felt it yesterday. Like, I finally got that feeling again. I was like, oh my God, this is amazing.
Yeah, when when your arm is being gripped and shook constantly throughout a 2.5-hour movie, you kind of guess that maybe there might be a little excitement in the air by a certain someone.
They gave us posters, and I think I hit Ethan maybe 4 times during the movie.
Yeah,
I'm like, dang!
She was so excited for this movie that once she was handed the poster, and not even 2 minutes later, she got so excited when she turned to me and looked at the Dune popcorn bucket and all this other Dune merch that they had stuff, that she turned so quickly she accidentally ripped her poster.
I got a new one.
She did get a new one. Thank you for the people at AMC for being so generous and understanding during these exciting times, because they are exciting.
It's so again, I read the book when I was in college. I've always regretted not reading it when I'm younger. I if you're under the age of 20, go read this book. It changed my life. It's an amazing book. And so I I basically dragged Ethan and all our friends to go see Dune Part 1. I'm listen, this is what Star Wars was great. This is awesome. You have to go see it. Guys, I promise it's so good. And now they're huge fans, and I did it.
Yeah, I mean, with Dune Part 1, I was, I had no expectations. The only thing I knew about Dune was sandworm and spice. And that's it, spicy sandworms. I don't know. It's an alternate reality version of the Spice Girls, Spice Worms.
Yeah.
So, I'm just kind of going into this, no expectations. And I come out of Dune Part 1, oh my gosh, this is one of the greatest movies I've ever seen. I loved it.
Mm-hmm.
I loved it. I mean, I didn't put it over Star Wars. I didn't put it over Lord of the Rings, but I really enjoyed it. Mm-hmm. And I was really excited for Dune Part 2 going into it.
I hyped it too.
Oh, absolutely.
I was you have no idea what's coming.
Yeah, and you're right. I had no idea.
No, the trailers, everyone's oh, the trailers show some. They really don't. They don't. So.
Yeah, and honestly, Seven Samurai, Magnificent Seven, Good, Bad, and the Ugly, Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, all these grand, spectacular epics of cinema that we've looked back on, they have perfectly balanced not only, throwing someone into these epic worlds and like just really bringing it all out, like perfect achievements of cinema. And then not only that, but like also demonstrating like really good quality filmmaking on top of not only just being a good, movie, but like some of the best creme de la creme movie making out there. Dune Part 2. Dune Part 2 is like, excuse me, coming through. Excuse me. I got my giant ass sandworm here.
I have my sand bucket.
I got my popcorn bucket.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna like shove all y'all out of the way.
Yeah.
And keep in mind, I grew up loving Star Wars. Star Wars is my boy. It is my boy. There is nothing else running through this blood except lightsaber streams. Like, I mean, like, it is just constant Star Wars that always goes through my head every day, all day. I should probably have that checked out. But honestly, after seeing Dune Part 2, I have a lot of juggling to do.
Oh.
I have a lot of juggling to do.
Do you want me to say it? I can totally say it right now.
I'm not there where you're at yet, but let me bequeath the words of Annmarie here.
I'm gonna get so much hate for this. I know I'm gonna get so much hate for it, but I'm gonna say it. Dune Part 2, the Dune universe, is better than Lord of the Rings and Star Wars. It just is. Denis created a perfect film. These books, like Ethan's read some of them. You can't really make these books into movies. Like it's so much internal dialogue and so much of religious, and it's a thinking man thing. But this, it works. Like, this shouldn't work. Like, Denis is the hand of God. He literally reached out and touched my heart for this movie. And, like, I gotta just say, Denis, I know I'll never speak to you. Thank you. Like, thank you so much for making this. Please make part 3. But thank you so much. Like, it means so much that we got to sit and see this film. Like, this was like walking out of Star Wars Episode 5 or the Return of the King. Like, this was it. And it's just so good. And I swear to God, all our friends, if you don't go see this movie, we can't be friends anymore.
Oh man, like one of the other best things about this movie going experience was not even really the movie itself, but like the fact that our audience,
oh my god,
everyone was so respectful, and like just no one went on their phones, no one like talked during the whole thing, and it was just amazing. It was spectacular. I loved it. It made really this movie that is all about immersion that much more immersive, that it felt like an out-of-body experience.
We were in that desert. We were on Arrakis.
I was riding that sand.
I love how we haven't even talked about the movie. We're just like thanking Denis and being like, oh, thank you.
You have to say your prayer before your meal. Come on. What are we doing out here? But yeah, no, we if you couldn't tell,
we loved it.
We kind of enjoyed the movie.
10 out of 10 sandwich popcorn buckets.
Yeah, we I would say the acting, phenomenal.
Oh my gosh.
If there's a standout out of all of them...
Oh, I have one.
I mean, character-wise is another story, but a standout acting performance...
Who?
Austin Butler.
Really? Austin for you?
I mean...
Yeah.
Timothy, without saying. Zendaya, phenomenal. Like, it's easily their best roles.
Rebecca Ferguson!
Like, oh my gosh. You know... Everyone in this movie, like, it's a stacked cast going in. Bro, Austin this is Butler. Like stacked upon stacked. It's a triple-decker stacked cast because these people transcended their own previous performances. And like Austin Butler, though, specifically as Feyd-Rautha. Oh my gosh. Like seeing him as Elvis in one movie and then this psychotic killer villain, like, holy crap. I was kind of expecting like a generic like suspense riding kind of villain that this guy was going to be. No, he had range. This villain had range. Oh my gosh. And just for context, I've only read the first part
Yes.
of the first Dune book.
Yeah.
So
But you meet Fade in the book.
Yes, you meet him at the very beginning. Yeah.
Can I say one thing?
Yeah, go ahead.
He does not sound like Elvis, everyone. Thank you, Denis. Thank you for breaking the curse.
Let me slit your throat. Thank you very much.
That would have been so awkward. No, he's so good. Dave Bautista for me. It was Dave Bautista.
Really?
His performance, honestly, I was like, this is awesome. Rabona's kind of like a throwaway character. He made me be like, I felt bad for him. Like, I felt bad for him. And he's the villain. Oh my goodness.
By the way, kind of a funny name, like, what's his name?
Well, I pronounce it Rabone.
No, Rabone, but it's like, it's just Baron rearranged.
It is. I love it. Oh my goodness. Frank Herbert, like, thank you for writing these books. I honestly, and one thing that Ethan and I had talked about, we're gonna be jumping around a lot. We will tell you when we go into spoilers.
We're high on spice.
We are high on spice. One thing that Ethan and I talked about was the sound.
Oh, the sound design.
The sound.
It is immaculate. It is immaculate, and it just, again, like, I think that was the big part that made it an out-of-body experience.
Yeah.
And, seeing an IMAX theater, that was great. I knew it was going to be a great experience. But, like, the sound design, the quality of that sound design.
Yeah.
It's so ethereal.
Oh, so cool.
Like, I can't even describe it to you. You have to see this movie in a theater.
No day and date release now, Warner Brothers. What are you going to do?
Could you imagine if these movies came out earlier?
I can't.
With that, oh my gosh.
I also want to say, and this is not a spoiler, the sound of the ship, say it.
The what?
The ship, the
Ornithopter.
Ornithopter. The way the wings stop and it goes, oh my gosh, I got like high.
Yeah, oh my gosh. You know what, Lego, try replicating that,
you
have all my money. You have my whole salary.
Oh, the sound of it. And, like, the visuals, like, there's a ship that crashes in the background at a certain scene, and it is so beautiful. I'm like, it's so cool.
Yeah, and Timothée Chalamet.
Oh, my gosh. You know what? I'm going to say it. Timmy, Daniel Day-Lewis. You did it. Like, you 100% did it. He's not even Daniel Day-Lewis. He's Timothée Chalamet. Like, he's so good. He plays Paul so well, and I can't wait till we get into spoiler review, but he plays Paul so well.
He does. And he just really transformed on screen before our eyes. Yeah. Like, I was so blown away by that performance, and Zendaya's performance to complement it. Like, and they complement each other so well. Because this movie is a love story.
It is.
And
it's beautiful.
It is. And the way that it goes down, like, I mean, and their performances to enhance it, I was just so enthralled. The writing, like, a movie is the culmination of everyone's work into bringing this dream to fruition and translating that dream to the human eye and human senses, really. Mm-hmm. And there's so many arms and that go into making this thing. Every single one of these arms, every single one of these minds made probably the best thing. Like, it seriously, this is such a culmination. Like, it is the perfect definition of a movie, a film. Mm-hmm. Like, a culmination of quality people's work to translate this to your human senses.
Yeah.
And convey, like, a story and immerse you. I'm kind of a little speechless here. We got a show to do where we're talking. It's like the only thing we do and are supposed to do, and I'm really speechless.
We both walked out of that movie theater just being like, what? We just saw, like, the film of the century. Like, Oppenheimer, you better pray to the Oscar gods that this did not come out in 2023, because it wouldn't be a race I know it didn't, but
Okay.
like, it would have even been a race. Like, this movie, like, Denis, you deserve Best Director. Timothy Chalamet, you deserve, like, at least Best Actor or, like, get nominated.
It's gonna be the Oprah Winfrey show with Oscars.
You get a Dune bucket! You get...
Which is so, it's kind of, like, bittersweet, but, like, I completely understand, and it's wonderful. I love it. It's such a celebration of movie making. But, like, I feel bad for all the other movies that are coming out this year.
Oh, you don't stand a chance.
Like, all my other movies on the most anticipated list that we had earlier.
Deadpool 3.
Like, Nosferatu. I mean, like,
Furiosa.
all of these. Furiosa.
Oh, man.
All these movies, like...
Sorry.
I'm sorry. Like, unless you have some sort of in with God, like... Well, first of all, let me know. But secondly, no,
Oh, man.
No.
I totally agree. Oh, man. Like, I just want to talk so much about this.
Okay, so you can tell we like the movie. And it's not going to be... This movie is not going to be for everyone. I know for a fact...
How dare you?
I wish it was. And I can easily judge you if you didn't like it. But besides that... it's not going to be for everybody. There's we know people that saw the first Dune
and didn't
vibe with it.
Which is so sad because if they saw the first Dune and don't see this one, you're doing such a disservice to yourself.
Yeah, and honestly, I would kind of compare it almost to like the Aliens jump a little bit. I mean, granted, it's much more of a, like significant transition with the Dune Part 1, Part 2, switch off. But with, like, Alien and Aliens, Alien was more of a horror movie. Aliens was more of an action movie.
Yeah.
First Dune was kind of more of a, like, drama, like, war drama. It still is that, but, like, it's more of an action. It leans more into that action sense of the war than the drama side.
Yeah.
And it benefits so much by doing that. And again, like you were saying, it does such a disservice.
If you don't go see it...
Yeah, well, yeah.
Oh man, yeah, like you were saying, like, this isn't for everyone, but everyone should go see it.
Yeah. And I was hearing that, some people talking about Denis maybe being, like, I mean, he's obviously already one of the greatest directors, out there right now. I would say, why are we even having a conversation? He is the best sci-fi director out there.
Can I say what I wrote down last night?
It doesn't include spoilers, Annmarie.
No, it doesn't. Trust me. Denis Villeneuve, thank you, first off. And then also equals Christopher Nolan, but with better female characters.
Yeah, and by the way, this does not do a disservice to Chris Nolan.
We love Christopher Nolan.
Yeah.
Like, I would have loved to see a Dune Christopher Nolan directed film. Like, maybe?
Christopher Nolan even said, like, this is Denis' Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah, and oh my gosh, he just...
The man himself. My guy.
Denis, you better win Best Director. I'm gonna be so mad at the Academy.
So...
We liked it.
Yeah, so what... Before we get into spoilers here, because there's a lot of spoilers to go over.
We have a whole list.
How many Dune popcorn buckets would you give it out of 10?
15. Like, Ethan, you have no idea because...
I have some idea.
You have some idea. You've read some of the book. But you have no idea how much this movie meant to me. It meant so much to me. And I grinned. I, like, teared up at the end. Like, this was so emotional. I've been watching Dune reviews. Like, all day. Like, that's all I've been doing. It means so much to me. And again, like, thank you to the whole entire team that created this. This movie made my year. It will hands down be one of the movies that we talk about in 10 years. With Star Wars, with Lord of the Rings. And oh my god, go see it. How many 50... Dune buckets?
So, I would have to give it...
Oh, man.
Oh, my gosh.
You have to.
Because it's over 10.
Yes.
But it's like, how far do you go over 10? Like, do I just pull like a this is Spinal Tap. Like, well, this one goes to 11. There's 11 buckets over there. You know what? This is the same amount of buckets as. Oh my gosh, I don't know, man. Like, I can't. Like, I can't put a number on it.
There's no number.
There's so many gallons of spice that's flowing through my veins right now.
Oh my god, the lightsabers got replaced by spice.
The beams of light that would burn my flesh off is replaced by a drug that can help me see the world. Oh. So, no, I'd probably give it... You know what, since you're superior in regards to your knowledge... I'll trust you. We're going to stop at 15. I'm not sure if that's a significant number or not. Like the Bible was 7 or something like that. We're going to go with that, and we're going to stick with it.
There we go.
Yeah, 15 things that you can definitely not do anything wrong with buckets.
Oh, God. Can we get into spoilers?
So, that's right. This has been your warning. We're going into spoiler territory.
Yes.
You may be eaten by some sandworms on your way here. But, you know, as long as you don't make any sudden movements, you should be fine.
Oh, man. Okay.
Spoiler time and
Spoiler time. All right. I wrote down a whole list of stuff that I really want to talk about. Because this is different from the book. And you know what? I know a lot of book readers might be upset with this movie, but they do have to change it. And one of the big changes I really want to talk about is Lady Jessica and Aaliyah. I want to first say, called it. Anya Taylor-Joy is Aaliyah Atreides. Thank you. I will take my prize right now. Second.
Hey, give me my wallet back.
I need it. Second off, so Aaliyah is supposed to be born in the books. She's born. In this, she is not born. She is communicating through Lady Jessica. Now, I wasn't sure how this was going to work because I was kind of nervous because I really like Aaliyah Atreides. She has a huge role in Messiah and Children of Dune and all the other books. I wasn't sure, and I loved it. Rebecca Ferguson kills this performance because she has to become the monster within. She takes the water of life that gives her, can see all, and she communicates with Aaliyah Atreides, and it's so creepy. It's like the coolest thing ever. Like, ah!
You know what? And did you notice, and I mean, I could be wrong about this, but did you notice that whenever she's talking, like, it started off where it's like, oh, she's saying this, or she's wants to tell you this, and it becomes just her talking, like, through her.
Yes!
I'm just like, that is so cool.
That's so cool!
Like, again, another transformation, like, of a character done on screen so well.
Oh my god.
So well.
It's so cool. It's just a standout for Rebecca Ferguson. Like, such a great part and all that. Because, like, it's kind of weird, like, to have a little baby and all that in the film. Like, it could have been weird. This nailed it. Like, I'm so happy that they did it this way.
Yeah, honestly, I'm kind of surprised it would have gone any other... Like, my head now, it's like, how can you do it any other way?
Yeah.
This is the only way. Any other way is blasphemy.
You gotta watch the David Lynch version.
Yeah. Oh, and then something I did not bring up in the non-spoiler review, which I probably should have, but, like, Stilgar.
Oh my gosh.
Javier Bardem.
Amazing.
I've never felt, like, so warm and welcomed by a character into a world.
He's so funny.
Like, he's not only funny, but he's warm and, like, genuine and sincere and kind, and like his voice as well. Like, it's so, it culminates into this character that, like, I always wanted to see him on screen interacting with all these. I'm like, Paul, you're great, do what you need to do, sure, have your complex or whatever, but, like, give me more Stilgar. You know, I want to see him riding the sandworms.
Well, and honestly, Javier Bardem has such charisma, and that character, like, Stilgar could have been, like, kind of your cheesy religious character. Like, no, he's, like, really fun.
Yeah, he's a sincere religious zealot. You know, I mean, like, he's not just simply, you know, your classic kind of Stephen King, you know, zealot that's like, you will die if you don't believe in blah, 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 you praise the Lord. No, like... No, you like he is genuinely like a genuine person.
Yeah.
That you could easily see as one of your friends or a family member or something like a family member actually. And someone that could tell you a story by a campfire or something like that, but like maybe he has something that you might disagree with in regards to his politics or like religion, but like you still just enjoy the warmness of company and the kindness and sincerity, so you sit there and listen anyway, because again, there's nothing, you know, better sometimes with human interaction than like being in front of a very sincere person.
And he kind of sets Paul on the path of being the Messiah, and I put in air quotes around that. Like so the story of Dune Part 2 takes place after Dune Part 1, and it's about Paul, and he becomes part of the Fremen. I'm describing it. And then the Harkonnens are trying to take over the planet, and Paul's becoming this leader to the Fremen. And Paul does not want to be the Messiah, but Stilgar truly believes in him. And so does Lady Jessica, and so does Gurney. Gurney's in this film, guys. Everyone, let's go! So he sets the path for Paul, and he's such an important character, and I don't think a lot of people realize that, because Paul is like, I don't want to be a part of this world, like, I don't want to be your Messiah. Heel turn, becomes the villain. He's the villain, everyone.
Yeah, I mean, Gurney like comes in here and just kind of like, can you imagine a world in which Gurney like actually died in that?
Oh, it would have been so sad.
Well, I mean, yes, it would have been sad, but like, if he died and Paul was still left to his own devices and decided, you know, maybe not to go up or down south, you know, just stayed, how different things would have turned out. There's your alternate, you know, reality, like of a what if situation. But oh
man,
yeah, Gurney, by the way, excellent job by Josh Brolin.
Oh, absolutely.
And he has probably one of my favorite moments in the entire movie, because in the first Dune, I really loved the like the siege of Arrakeen scene, like where the Harkonnen and Sarkar are coming down, and they're just laying waste on this entire city and like destroying this bloodline of the Kaladin people. Or
yeah, you said it right.
Oh, okay.
Kaladin.
Yeah. Oh, Atreides.
Yeah,
oh yeah. Yeah. So that was so cool. I loved Hans Zimmer's music that went with it, where it's just like this bagpipe anthem that you hear earlier in the movie when they first arrive, and then you hear it again like in a much more epic sense and scope with this battle, and Gurney's leading the way, like saying charge. And like, again, with me having no association with Dune prior to seeing Dune Part 1, I got chills down my spine
so cool.
from that one like music cue and scene. And I'm like, why am I getting chills down my spine? I've never like known Dune anything. There's sandworms that do lines of spice. Like, seriously.
So cool.
And then all of a sudden I'm getting chills. Part 2 has a scene where they are like, Gurney's going back to that same Arrakeen and just kind of like cutting down like all these Harkonnens like it's nobody's business.
And he gets to fight Rabone.
Yeah, he gets to fight Rabone, and he bones Rabone with his knife, man. I mean, dude, it is so good. And but you notice though, like the music that's playing it's shifted. It still has like the bagpipes there, but it's like it's shifted to like a completely more cynical, slightly evil sounding tone, and I'm just like I'm slapping my thighs. Like, I mean, you saw me in the theater. I'm just like, yo. Oh man, I was just so giddy, and it's like such a weird thing to be giddy about, like in a movie like that. But man, I was having a blast.
I thought you were gonna say your favorite scene with him was when he played the Cassette.
No, I thought that was funny.
That was funny. I'm so glad they included that.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I also want to talk about like the female characters. I said this earlier. Denis is so good with female characters.
Yes.
And And Chani, oh my gosh. Listen, Chani and Princess Irulan don't have that big of a role in the books, but in this, it's awesome what they do with these characters. Like, Zendaya made me believe that she fell in love with Paul Atreides, but also made me believe that she's like, I don't like that you're the Messiah. Like, she plays the character so well because she's in love with this guy, like, in love. But he stands for everything that she's against. But she still has that tug of love towards him.
She stays true to her character throughout, and that's what I like, you know. She's just kind of like, as long as you don't change, you know, like.
And he changes.
Yeah, he changes, and it's like, I'm out. I'm gonna ride someone else's sandworm.
Oh God, we gotta talk about the ending, but also I want to talk about Florence Pugh because this character could have been such a secondary character. She plays the character so well too.
And by the way, costume design.
Oh my gosh.
Yo, take your Oscar now before anyone else.
Here you go. Oh my gosh. But no, like really, because in the books, Florence Pugh writes the character Princess Irulan writes books about Paul, and that begins at the chapter.
Yeah, and that is so cool with like the technology that they use, like to show what a book or like a scribe like looks like. I'm like, that is so cool. Oh. All the technology in this movie is so cool. The mines.
Yes.
The mines I thought were like some of the coolest things. Like, how do you come up with that where it's like magnetized? Like magnetized mines. I would never have thought about that because you think of like mines as like things where it's like you approach it and then it's like you rely on solely that approaching that specific spot. This was like, no, you hit that spot, now you're magnetized to a mine that's coming flying at you from a distance. I'm like, that is so cool. And they're just like, they're really just plates. They're plates. They're all these mines, they're designed, it just looks like a plate, like a rectangle plate.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be cool. But it's
so cool. Oh my god. And the Fremen devices, the ones that stick up and let them breathe. I love how the Fremen fight too. It's so like agile and all that. Like they totally like Black Widow flip people and I'm like, let's go, like murder them.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my god, like Florence Pugh and Florence Pugh is such an entrance into the Bene Gesserit too, and that world, and that it's so it's so creepy. Because they manipulate, but they don't manipulate through genetics. They manipulate through human to human. Like, they have this bloodline that they have to do, and in it, they send a Bene Gesserit to go F up Feyd-Rautha. And, like, they could have totally, like, you could totally do genetics and experience. No, they're like, old school.
Yeah. I mean,
they're so creepy.
It's like they get down and dirty without getting dirty.
Oh my god.
It's so interesting and intricate.
It's so cool.
Oh my god. And can you think of anything that's like wrong with this movie?
No, I really can't. Like
go ahead.
I know what you're gonna say, but I honestly no. I want to talk about the ending because I'm not bothered by it, but I also am kind of interested to see where it goes. But I really don't think this movie's perfect. Like, yes, there's stuff on the cutting room floor. Like, we haven't even talked about the Harkonnens, but there's stuff on the cutting room floor with them. But, oh my god, it's perfect in every way.
So
what's wrong with it?
What's wrong with it? She asks, like, with a Chris knife at my neck.
It's fine, Conjaba. What's wrong with it, Ethan?
So, again, I don't think this is something wrong with it. Maybe it's just, like, my interpretation of, like, the scene. But, like, there's a scene where, you know, Gurney comes back and, you know, rejoins up with Paul. And, you know, they're walking back to their camp or whatever. And, Gurney is talking very loudly, like, in front of all these other Furmen, like, about, hey, you know, why aren't you taking advantage of these people? Like, why aren't you have all this power.
Manipulate them.
Yeah, manipulate. Like, he's talking so loudly about Chani, who's, like, a few people ahead of them, like, is, like, turning around, like, yo, what the fuck? Like, what's going on? Like, maybe that's to show how, you know, how invested and how, like, zealot, or I don't know what brainwashed these people are, these Furmen are, like, with the way of the Muad'Dib, you know, mentality and all that, and prophecy. and that they don't even care or they're not even paying attention, but then like Chani is. Maybe that's to show that. But like if that's not the case, I think that is so stupid of Gurney
to
just to be so open about that.
Yo, Paul.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not like a gripe or anything. It's just like, oh, why would that character be doing that like at that volume? But again, I don't think it's a flaw. It's just something I noticed.
Yeah.
And I'm like, huh.
It's kind of interesting the way. So there's a couple of reveals in this. One of the reveals is being like, hello, Paul is the villain. Paul takes a total heel turn and is the villain and manipulates everyone. How many people do you think died in that fight? Like, Sardaukar? Like, millions, probably.
Hilarious.
And so that's a huge reveal. But yeah, it's so interesting that, like, Ethan told me, he's like, I think the movie is all about this. And I was hesitant to say it, but I'll say it now. Dune is about not trusting your leaders. And it's so obvious with Paul. So Frank Herbert used to be a political writer. So he wrote for politics. And then he wrote Dune. And it got denied like 22 times and all that. And it finally came out and everything. And people honestly fell in love with Paul and this character, but they don't realize Paul's the villain. Like, he's not the good guy in this. Like, he's not supposed to. Like, you're not supposed to follow this guy, but here we are in this world. And so I think most people are going to be shocked by that.
Yeah, so basically if you buy a Paul Atreides action figure, we hate you.
You're
a villain.
Evil.
You are a sinister, sadistic,
Get out
fun. That's the shit. No, I'm kidding. But no, I agree with you. Like, it's so interesting to see that on screen, like, happen right before your eyes. Like, if there's such a thing as a metamorphosis of a movie, this is that. Like, you see there's so many character changes, transformations throughout this movie. It's like you're being injected with metamorphine. If that's a thing. Yeah, that's a thing now. It's like the drug equivalent of, like, getting high on metamorphosis.
And it also is like a parallel to the Harkonnens. Like,
it harkens back to the
oh my gosh, like, we've already talked about Austin Butler, but like, oh my god, psychotic. The Baron, psychotic. Rabone, psychotic.
And also with Austin Butler's Feyd-Rautha, the way that they shoot all his scenes with, like, killing people, it's so quick and casual. Like, it's not like a building of suspense like you see in a lot of other movies where it's like, oh, like, you see the guy getting scared and all that. It's just like, no, it's quick and immediate. And I think that it's so scary that can happen at a whim. Yeah. Like, it makes you feel there as if you're in that room, like, I don't want to be a part of that.
Yeah. Something they cut out from the book is he has two knives, and one of the knives is, like, for death, and one of them's for life. But they kind of do that with the black and white knife. But it's so cool, like, how that character's brought to life, because he's young. Like, so in the prophecy, Lady Jessica and Duke Leto were supposed to have a girl. The girl was supposed to marry Feyd-Rautha, and then they would have the Kwisatz Haderach. So Feyd-Rautha is a huge play into this too. So,
I mean, they could still go at it.
Well, they did. Because Lady Fenrir and Austin Butler, Feyd-Rautha, here they are. It's so the Bene Gesserit are like, listen, we don't think Paul's the Kwisatz Haderach, so we're gonna try again. And,
well, I mean, like, they could, like, do I'm in, like, progress.
Let's go.
Yeah, no, but yeah, so I think his character was so cool.
Oh
and
my gosh.
Just Austin Butler, my guy, wow, like, he completely transformed. And sometimes I couldn't even tell if it was the Baron talking or not.
Oh, if it was,
like, because he does such a good, like, Harkonnen kind of leadership voice that I'm like, oh my gosh, I could see him being related to this guy.
Yeah.
To the Baron, and I was blown away by his performance.
Should we also talk about the other big twist?
Yeah, so Paul, I'm assuming this is what you're talking about. Yeah. Paul is a part Harkonnen.
Yes.
So I was not ready for that.
so shocked. So when Ethan was reading the book, this comes up in the book kind of early, and so I made him stop. I'm like, you can't read anymore. And it's so Lady Jessica is the daughter of Baron Harkonnen.
Oh, I still can't get over that.
It was so cool. And then he's like, Paul goes up to like Fade, and he's like, cousin. And then he, well, in this one, he kills the Baron, and he's like, grandfather, you die like an animal. And I'm like, it's a callback to the books.
Yeah, like, and I actually kind of know what that is. So
yeah, you know what it is.
Yeah. Ethan knows things.
You know stuff. Oh my gosh, I that was one of the moments that I hit you with my poster. I was like, he stabs him in the neck.
Here's the interesting thing though.
Yeah.
The moment that I saw your jaw like drop, like really drop, and I could hear a gasp throughout the theater, was like when the Baron's right before the Emperor, and you just see a Sarkar slowly kind of walk up behind him, and then just like cuts off his tube or whatever, and he just like collapses and like is on his death floor, because it's not even a bed, it's just a floor.
Yes.
And he's there, and I just look at you, and you're like, like the.
Oh my gosh, it's different from the book, and so that's what really surprised me. But oh my gosh, yeah, everyone's on their A game, everyone. But man, Chani and Paul's, I feel so bad for Chani.
Yeah, I mean, like, why was that like a big thing?
The Baron and all that? Well, I don't want to spoil the book, but...
Here, I will cover my ears and you can...
Yeah,
oh
gosh, it might be a little long. Okay, so...
Hang on, I'll be right back.
Ethan's gonna leave for a second.
Some water of life.
I can talk about my theory that...
Right.
Okay. Ethan's leaving. Okay, so in the book, Alea actually is born, and she becomes like a 2-year-old and can talk, and she's the one that kills the Baron. But in this one, she doesn't. I also want to throw a theory out there. Any book readers, please talk to me about this. But I'm kind of surprised with Chani's ending, because in Messiah, Chani and Paul get together, but in this, Chani totally dips. So I'm thinking that in Dune Messiah, they're going to do a switch of Princess Irulan's story and Chani's story, and Chani is going to actually be the one that tries to kill Paul. Ethan's still standing out there. Okay, that's it. That's it for the book spoilers.
Alright, we good?
Yeah. I got my theory out, too, about the ending. I wanted to say that. So any book readers, please reach out to me, because I really want to hear people's take on the ending.
Yeah, you're definitely going to be the one reading comments on this one.
Oh, yeah. So, Ethan, the ending.
That is me. Well, not the ending.
What do you feel... What do you feel with the ending? Like, how did you feel about it? Because it is kind of a cliffhanger.
I really loved it. The way it was shot, the way it was executed, choreographed and everything. I loved it. I loved the ending. I think it was just, it leaves so much of a, like, anticipation, cliffhanger.
Yeah.
All those, like, anxiety-filled words to describe a story transition.
Yeah.
To really grab your attention. I mean, like, all the houses now, like, no, we don't like you, though.
Yeah.
And then, which is so interesting, because previously, the Letos, or like, the Atreides were like loved by all the houses, and now that Paul's taken over and has done this with the Emperor, it's like, oh shit.
I'm shocked he didn't kill the Emperor.
Yeah, that I was like, huh, but you know what, it makes sense, because if he were to do that, he would lose kind of his leverage a little bit, because the houses, at the end of the day, if they want to gang up on him, they have no real reason to do so.
Well, they can't, really, because now Paul marries Princess Irulan. They take each other in hand.
Yeah. And
so Paul is the emperor. Like, the Sardaukar bow down to him now. So he has the Fremen, too.
Yeah.
So he has so much power. It's interesting because, also, like, Chani totally leaves. Like,
yeah, Chani is just like, hey, I'm done.
Yeah.
Like, I'm outie. And she's pissed, even Paul, like, when he's trying to, like, pull an Anakin and say, I love you and all that, like...
But I gotta marry Princess Irulan.
It's like, I'll be right back. But, like, still, like, doesn't realize he's in the same room and just like, oh, I'm gonna talk, I'm king. But, the way that he goes about it, like, and I love the writing in this. He is so sincere about what he's doing that he actually, without this happening in separate rooms, all this happens in the same room. So it's not like Chani leaves early or anything like that. She's seeing all this go down of him saying, not only in the same scene of him just saying, like, no matter what happens, I love you. Mm-hmm. And then immediately, like, him saying, yeah, I want to marry your daughter.
Yeah.
Like,
the hurt on her face.
Yeah.
She was hurt more than anything. And it's so interesting. Like, what do you do? Like, you can't be done with this. Like, I know, listen, most people don't like Dune Messiah, and that's a whole nother story for another day. But you have to do a third one. We're gonna leave Chani? We're gonna leave Paul and Princess Irulan, and the houses are coming to attack? Like, what are we gonna, like, Denis, you have to do a third one.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's gonna be doing a third one. I don't care if it's announced yet.
Oh my god.
They are. Like,
Warner Brothers knows they're doing another one.
Yeah, I mean, he wouldn't be writing it, because he would have to pitch it first.
Yeah. Before
he starts writing, otherwise he's writing a script for nothing.
Yeah.
So he's probably already pitched it to Warner Brothers.
And I'm interested because I know some people are like, leave it here, because they don't want Dune Messiah. But I'm like, how it's such a cliffhanger. You can't leave it here.
No,
like,
you can't.
What? We gotta know. Like, Paul just became the villain of this story. Like, his jihad is happening right now. What? You can't just leave it. Like, I want to know what happens to Chani's one of my favorite characters in the book next to Alea Atreides, so I gotta know. Yeah,
there's way too much up in the spice-filled air for any of us to, like, live our lives continuously without knowing.
It's gonna be so many years, though, because Warner Brothers...
Well, honestly, I'm okay with this being, like, so many years, if it takes that time, because doesn't Dune Messiah, like, take place years... And again, I have no frame of reference other than what you've said.
I won't say how many years, but it does take years afterwards.
And so that would make sense. You probably also want to have a little more aging on your actors.
But it depends on what Denis does, because he can do Dune Messiah. He's going to have to switch it, but he can do the book Dune Messiah, or he can do, because Dune Part 2 takes place like 5 minutes after Dune Part 1, he could do Dune Part 3 take place 5 minutes after Dune Part 2. Like, he has two options here. Like, he can go as many years in the future as Dune Messiah does, or he can start right here and finish this story up. So I don't know what he's gonna do. I hope he does Dune Messiah. Like, that's one of my favorite books. Even though a lot of people don't like it. I love that book.
Hey, sometimes the most controversial ones are, like, the ones that people either really love or really hate.
And I just don't know what he's going to do. Like, I wish I could sit down with Denis and be like, okay, so what's your plan? Like, where are we going?
Yeah, I mean, I have no idea. I didn't even know, like, where we were going, once Dune Part 1 ended. I'm just kind of like, oh, he's gonna learn from these people. It's gonna be so
he's
probably gonna
cool.
get some revenge. It's gonna be great.
And then he hops on a sandworm.
And he hops on a fucking sandworm like nobody's business.
That was so cool, too.
Oh my gosh, the sandworm scene. So good.
So cool.
I think that was, I was watching a video earlier today, and I think that was Denis' favorite scene that he put in the movie.
I love that.
At least, maybe that was just done for public reasons with, like, hey, I can only pick from the ones that the audience knows before it comes out. But, I guess as it stands, that one was his favorite. I'm like, yeah, I understand, because it was so cool.
I'm so glad they rode multiple sandworms.
All the sandworms.
Into battle. The battle is so neat.
Yeah, the Chihuahua face.
The Chihuahua
face? Yeah, have you not seen that? Like, where someone, made a meme where it's like the sandworms coming out of the dust storm. Yeah. Like, you have three, like, two kind of up higher than the others and one on the bottom, and it looks like a giant chihuahua going after all these people.
I didn't know
that. I haven't been able to look at it the same way again.
Put it in the thumbnail. Chihuahua fan. I did not know that.
Yeah.
Now I gotta rewatch this movie, I guess.
Well, I mean, you could actually just look at your poster. I think it's the same thing.
Oh my gosh. Where is it?
Yeah. Oh, man.
The visual effect. Oh, man.
Yeah.
This was made
so
for $190 million. Like, that is shocking to me. Fast X was made for $5 million. Here we are.
Isn't it? Wait, wasn't Fast X made for more?
Hold on, let me check.
Do you mean 500 million or 50 million?
Fast X, how
Get your numbers out.
Get
your movie numbers.
Yeah, I before we started, I'm like, oh, Ethan, I gotta pull up the box office. I'm like, oh, I can't do that yet.
Yeah, no, she's checking the numbers. I don't know, like you see something like Godzilla -1 worth 15 million, and yeah, and then you see something like Fast X that's 340 million that ends up to be a
complete flop.
A complete dismantle of transmission.
Hopefully Dune Part 2. I truly believe Dune Part 2 is going to be $1 billion film. I truly believe
it. $2 billion movie?
No. 1 billion.
Okay,
Did I say 2 billion?
It sounded like you said, I mean, maybe, I don't know.
$1 billion film. $1 billion.
Probably have spice in my ears.
Yes. $1 billion film. It will be. Like, I don't see, like, this is Star Wars. Like, yeah, you can't miss it.
Which, speaking of, like, Filoni, Kennedy, let him make a movie.
Hire Denis.
Yeah, like, he's the king of sci-fi right now.
Throw money at him.
Don't tell him what to do. Just give him some money and say, come back to us in, like, 90 days and then expect a product.
Yeah.
You could make so much money.
I saw a little, like, someone's got to make a sketch of, like, someone going up to Denis and being like, hey, so I have some notes, and Denis just looking at him and be like, yeah, okay.
I never seen the word.
Like, Denis, like, is a big fan of the books. Like, he knows what he's doing. Like, I trust him. In Denis, we trust.
In Denis, we trust.
Can I say this? And this is going to be controversial, too, so everyone get ready to click that.
Controversy part 2.
I will say some of our friends had been saying before Dune Part 1 came out, being like, oh, no, Star Wars didn't take anything from Dune. Like, they didn't. Lies. You lie. You sit on a throne of lies. Dune created Star Wars. Now, not everything. Of course, George Lucas, you gotta give credit where credit's due. Star Wars is beautiful and awesome and fun. But, yes, a lot of Star Wars comes from Dune.
Yes and no. I think Dune walked so Star Wars could run, so Dune could run even further.
Yes. That's a good point.
Yeah. So, I mean, again, every piece of media out there, I think, gets influenced from something. Mm-hmm. I mean, Magnificent Seven copied Seven Samurai, and both are, like, some of the greatest movies out there. And, I mean, Dune took from Abrahamic religions and all that, and prophecies that are technically, like, stories from the past, too. I mean, there's so many things that's, like, constantly taken from the other, but I don't really see it so much as taking, as much as, like, I know that's, like, the Dune mentality of, like, take.
Yeah.
My Iraq is my Dune.
Yeah.
But, like, at the end of the day, I think it's a building up to something. Like, it's always, like, a progressive building that's, like, going, like, it's the constant Tower of Babel that ain't gonna fall down.
Of course. Yeah. I just don't like when people, like, dismiss Dune of what it did and all that, because it created sci-fi. It truly did, and yeah, it deserves respect, Ethan.
It does.
Deserves it.
It deserves it.
Oh, my gosh. We could talk about this forever.
Yeah, we've already been going for almost an hour now.
Let's go, longest episode. Woo!
No, I'm so glad that you got me on this Dune train from
God.
part 1 and now to see this movie.
Where do you think it's gonna go? Like, I won't...
Where do I think it's gonna go?
Like, really, where do you think? I'll shut my mouth. I'll cover my mouth so you can't see my facial expression.
Please!
Okay.
No, I'm kidding.
Where do you think it's gonna go?
So, I think that part 3, or Messiah, or whatever, I feel like it's gonna end, at least, with Paul being killed by, it's gonna be mainly Paul and his sister, I think, having some sort of fight, and in the midst of all that, there's going to be Chani is gonna assassinate Paul. That would be my guess, because she's leaving. Like, there's no way she's leaving unless she's coming back, like, with a vengeance. Kind of like Paul left Arrakeen, and then came back and, like, killed the Baron. It's kind of going to be, like, repeating. And also, it kind of fulfills the actual prophecy of the whole... Oh, it's the ferment. Yeah, well, the whole thing of like the Muad'Dib is one of them.
Oh, Lasail.
Yeah, Lasail. Where it's supposed to be one of them, and Chani is already one of them, and she could be that one that like kills him, and then takes lead. Because who's to say this prophecy is taking place now? What if it takes place, afterwards?
Does anyone get turned into a sandworm?
Okay, listen. In passing, I don't know much about Dune, but in passing, I did hear that, like, someone or something, and I'm probably gonna guess it's, like, Paul or something, but, like, turns into a sandworm. I don't know. I don't want to know until I see the movie. Dune Part 3 or Messiah or whatever.
Whatever it's called.
But, I know something happens where someone gets coked up enough on spice and turns into a sandworm, and
I don't know, maybe.
I don't know. Like, I mean, I don't know, but I've heard.
That's what, before the movie, that's all Ethan knew. He's like, oh, someone gets turned into a sandworm, and I didn't say anything.
And it doesn't happen in this movie. It just, like,
Does it?
It doesn't. There's people...
You were looking forward to it?
All of these have limbs. All of these people have limbs. None of them even look any worm-like. The Baron kind of has, like, a little worm thing going on with his little robe, long-ass robe, when he, like, stands up, like, 10 feet in the air. But, like... But, like, no one looks like a worm. No one looks remotely... Well, actually, no, I lie. What's her face? The sister.
Alea?
Yeah, Alea, when she's a baby.
She's not even born yet.
Exactly. She looks like she's the closest thing to a worm.
Oh my god.
And she's just like,
so cool.
Yo, if she turns into or like someone turns into a worm and like she ends up riding.
Stop.
Anyway.
Stop it. Oh my gosh.
There's so many possibilities. It's crazy.
There's so many futures. Who knows?
Yeah, in more ways than one.
Hopefully, Denis, the future will show part 3, 2030. Oh god, I can't wait that long. Please come out in the next 5 years. Please. We beg of you.
But yeah, I guess I'm a little out of breath.
Oh, I could keep going all day. But I won't.
But yeah, that was Dune Part 2, one of the greatest achievements in cinema in a very long time. And
go see it.
Yeah, please.
Do yourself a favor.
Do cinema, do the world a favor, and yourself a favor, and go see it. Like, give your wallet to the bucket.
And then go read the book, and then come back and comment on this.
Yeah. I'm gonna go read the book. We're gonna find out, like, how closely these movies, stay true to the material.
We'll see.
I don't know. I'm a novice in this world of worms and spice and worm people, I guess. And, we're gonna see where things go. We're gonna see where the sandworm takes us.
Oh, gosh. Here we go.
Yeah, but, yeah, hey, did you guys see Dune Part 2? Were you part of, like, the little thousands of people?
Are you going to see Dune Part 2? We saw it early.
Yeah, well, I mean, there were thousands of others that saw it at the same time we did. So if you saw it, what do you think of it? Are you going to see it? Have you already gotten your tickets? Are you having a tough time getting your tickets? Based on, like, everything we've been saying that someone jumped ahead of you and like, hey, no, I'm gonna get mine first. I mean, hey, whatever your thoughts are, let us know in those comments down below. And if you like our thoughts on Dune Part 2 and anything else, also don't forget to like this video and, share with your friends and fellow sandworms and spice users.
Oh, gosh.
So, with that, I've been Ethan.
I'm Annmarie.
And we are not sandworms.
No.
Thank you for listening and watching the Cassette Take, where you can eject wherever you want, but again, please don't forget to rewind. You have a great day and get coked up on spice.
Long live the fighters!